Namaste, my friends, and welcome back to the podcast. I think this episode today is going to be interesting for many of you. I have a nutrition health coach on, Debbie Harris, and she is going to be talking to us about weight loss in middle age. I know for many, including myself, the weight just seemed to appear out of nowhere, and everything that had worked for me in the past is no longer working, and it is so frustrating. And so she's going to talk to us about why that is, what actually is physiologically changing in our bodies and making it so difficult at this stage of life to lose weight. And she's going to talk to us about the shifts we need to make to allow that weight to fall off at this age. And she has a new book out, which I love the name. It's called Dieting Sucks for Women Over 40. Yes, it does, Debbie. 30 to Life, the Ultimate Weight Loss and Hormone Balancing Solution. And she focuses a lot on this hormone balancing. She will go into it more deeply in the show, but there are three hormones that we have that undergo significant shifts in this stage of life. And it's why losing weight in this stage of life can be difficult and requires different strategies than we have been using in the past. So we talk about all that. We talk about all the concrete steps that we can take, but we also talk about the emotional tie we all have to food and how it's very important for us to do the inside work if we're going to be able to implement the strategies that she mentions and really make them long-lasting shifts in the way that we live. She wants everyone out of the diet culture. She doesn't believe in dieting. She wants people to shift into a whole new lifestyle, a new relationship with food, a new way of eating, a new way of exercising. And when we do, she promises that we will not only lose weight, but we will feel more energized. We will have less pain. We will have less perimenopause and menopause symptoms, decrease in bloating, and just feeling good in our bodies, which is really what she wants for women, is for us to feel good in our bodies. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. Before we dive in, I want to remind you to use the link in my show notes or head over to my website at katiefarinas.com and sign up for my newsletter through Substack. Substack is a social media platform, if you're not aware of it. It's a beautiful social media platform, lovely people over there, warm, loving, intelligent, deep space to be a part of. However, you don't have to be a part of it. If you sign up for my newsletter, it will still just get delivered directly to your inbox, and you don't have to sign up for Substack at all. But if you choose to sign up for my newsletter and sign up for Substack, you'll enter my community over there where I share inspiration a couple of times a day over there. I also host events like free meditations and workshops. And I'm really working to grow a community over there. It's a place where we can all come together. And as I mentioned, it's just a really wonderful, energetically positive place. So that's why I'm trying to grow my community over there. So I would love to see you in the community. But if you don't want to have one more social media platform, I totally get that too. Just sign up for the newsletter and it will go directly to your inbox. All right, my friends, I will see you on the other side. All right, Debbie, welcome to the Midlife Purpose Project. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to be here today.
I am excited to have you. We are going to be talking about a really hot topic right now, which is weight management or weight loss in the midlife era. It is a struggle. I can tell you for myself, I feel like I blinked my eyes and woke up one day 20 pounds heavier. Having not changed a single thing in my diet or exercise routine. It was like, what in the world just happened? And so anyway, I think that's a very common experience. And then trying to get that weight off feels like such an uphill battle. So let's dive into all of your wisdom and knowledge to share with myself and our listeners. But first, could you just tell us who you are, what you do, and how you came to do what you do?
Sure. Thank you. I'm Debbie Harris. I'm a lifelong dieter, former dieter, so I consider myself a freedom eater. I've developed a proprietary program so that women can elevate their health, release weight, minimize symptoms, and really the bottom line, find peace with food. Because that is something that many women struggle with almost all of their lives. I struggled with it since I was a very small child. So that's basically what I'm doing. And I want every woman to understand that they aren't wrong and this is not their fault. And Katie, what you just described is what I hear from a lot of women. I just woke up one morning and, what is happening? And then there's all the other women like myself who dieted, and we'll call it successfully, all their lives, gained it back, lost it, gained it back, lost it. And then perimenopause or postmenopause, and it's simply not going to budge. I mean, your last resort is, taking a knife. So that's equally as frustrating.
Yeah, it really is. And whether you woke up, like you said, one day like me and all of a sudden heavier or not, or you struggled the whole time, anything that did work in the past just does not work anymore. And I struggled with weight when I was young. I wound up finding a balance for myself and doing pretty well with my weight throughout most of my adulthood. But there were periods of time where I realized, the tip of the scales here, I need to rein it back in a little bit, but it was fairly easy to do. Got myself, in a better diet and exercise routine and things shifted. But yet when I hit this midlife stage, it just, no matter what you do, it does not move. So, well, let's first talk about you said in the very beginning when you were introducing yourself, you said, I'm a freedom eater. So what does that mean? Explain that.
Yes, in my book and in my membership program and my private program, I teach women to be freedom eaters. What does that mean? That means you're going to learn to eat an 80-20 lifestyle, whatever that looks like for you. That means 80% of the time we call it on program, but you're going to eat a certain way, a way that really helps balance your body and you feel just great. You're in balance, you look good, you feel good, the weight is off. 20% of the time, you're going to have that freedom without self-recrimination, without guilt to enjoy the things you want to enjoy. I do not believe that any food is a never, unless you're allergic to it, of course. But you're going to learn to go on that all-inclusive vacation, to go out to brunch with your friends, to, go to a party, to have the birthday cake, whatever it is. You're going to learn how to do that 20% of the time, where your body is going to readjust immediately back into balance when you get back to that 80%.
Okay. That's amazing, because I think that what's the point of living, right? I mean, food is pleasure. Yes, it is also nourishment and those important factors, but it's also pleasure. So if we are restricting ourselves to a degree that we take the pleasure out of it, it's a big loss in life, and it doesn't seem sustainable. It seems like women, or anyone for that matter, would just revert back to old eating patterns, because once you deprive yourself too much, the pendulum swings.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right. And that is what we tend to do. And as a certified hypnotist for the last 24 years or so, I teach everybody self-hypnosis, because that's exactly what's happening. We're reverting back to that binge diet. And we're carrying a lot of guilt and a lot of self-recrimination and a lot of, I'll start again Monday. And then Wednesday, something happens and now you feel like a failure. Women have a tendency to focus on the food and how they ate as how their day, for example, you've been on a program, you feel great, you wake up Monday morning, you're like, I'm doing this. Wednesday, either someone invites you somewhere, somebody brings something into the office, whatever it is. You take 2 bites of a donut. And now that spiral happens. So I've had 2 bites of a donut, and I call it going down the rabbit hole in my book. Now you might as well have pizza for lunch. And at the end of the day, you feel like crap because of that. You feel like a failure. Everything is tied into, well, I didn't stick to my program. I'm a failure. It was a bad day. I'm stupid. All that stuff starts happening.
Yeah.
So I really want to separate that. I really want women to have an understanding of their relationship with food. And Katie, you hit the nail on the head. Food is about joy. It is about happiness. It's about memories. It's about tradition. It's about Aunt Sally's favorite cake and mom's cookies and holiday dinners. Why in the world would we cut that out?
Yeah.
What is the point? So I teach everybody you can do all that, but you need to learn how to do it.
Yeah. So how for you, you said you spent your entire life going back and forth, swinging back and forth with your weight. What was the thing? What finally happened that set you on the course that you're on now?
I was postmenopause. I had put on about 40 pounds. But again, not only that, it was inflammation. So when I see pictures, my face is very puffy. There was inflammation. And someone introduced me to a way of eating, and it worked for me. So I started doing it. During that course, I also was diagnosed with breast cancer, but I stuck with the program. And I'm pretty sure that because I was eating better, that was an easier transition. And afterwards, I said, you know something? I have to research this more. Like, why did this work when nothing worked?
Yeah.
So I went back to school. I became an integrative nutrition health coach. And then I started rewriting, doing more research, and finally saying, okay, I'm going to write this book. I want every woman to feel the freedom that I now feel, to open your closet and say, doesn't matter what I put on, everything's going to look good. Or go into a store and pull things off a rack and be like, yeah, this will fit. This is cool. And I did. I wrote the book, and as I said, I went back to school. I'm now finishing a menopause certification because I really wanted to learn more about that particular time. And yeah, for me, it's an insane passion for women to understand that they are not stupid. They are not weak. It is not their fault. I've written a little booklet called The Wrong Map, because we really aren't given the tools we need to understand our own bodies and relationship to food.
And I think that's something, that's how I wound up feeling at one point, which was, whose body is this, right? This is not the body that I've lived in for decades. It doesn't behave the same way. It doesn't respond the same way. It doesn't need the same things. It can't tolerate the same things. It is like, so I've joked and said, it's like someone like plucked my soul out of my body and just plopped it in a whole new body. And I'm like, whoa, I got to get used to this new suit I'm wearing. But what's happening inside our bodies at this age, this, 45 to 60 or so, why is all of that changing? Why can we all of a sudden not get the weight off and everything feels so different and responds so different?
Yeah. We have kind of a combination, a perfect storm, if you will, of estrogen, insulin, and cortisol. And we all have heard, estrogen goes down. When we have an issue with becoming insulin resistant, so we aren't taking the sugar out of the cells properly, when our estrogen is plummeting, which we know as we get perimenopause. And by the way, I want to make sure that everybody understands, because these words get thrown around. Menopause is one day. It's the day that you have not had your period for 12 months. So you are either in perimenopause or post-menopause, but we use the term menopause very generally. So this insulin issue is one of the reasons we start to hold fat and we start to crave carbs more. We start to hold fat around the middle. Cortisol is the biggie and the one that I focus on the most, because cortisol is that stress hormone, that fight or flight. Mm-hmm. And when it's going crazy, when it's very high, we need to hold on to everything, because traditionally, and I'm talking way back, you wouldn't know necessarily where our next meal was coming from. Mm-hmm. So we are holding it. And the place we're holding most of the fat is around the middle. So you have the estrogen issue, the insulin issue, and the cortisol issue. To compound that, the cortisol, stress affects it. And there's nothing stressful in the world these days.
Right.
Stress affects it. Lack of sleep is a big. Now, lack of sleep. Well, if you're having hot night sweats, then yeah, we know that is going to affect how we sleep. So lack of sleep, you might, ladies, listen, you might be exercising counterproductively to releasing weight. And I'll touch on that in a moment. Yeah. What we're eating, are we eating a lot of sugar? Are we having a lot of simple carbs, chips and things like that? Are we having a lot of alcohol? You notice I didn't say are we having any? I said, are we having a lot? Are we drinking coffee that is now affecting our sleep? So there's a lot of noise out there. You can talk to 6 professionals, doctors, nurses, whatever, and get 6 different answers. Most women are telling me they're simply not getting any answers. They're getting, well, it's menopause. Well, okay, that's wonderful. Perimenopause can start in our 30s. They've documented over 33 symptoms that are now related to perimenopause. So when you said your body doesn't need the same things, doesn't respond the same way, yes, that is correct. So we need to learn how powerful food can be, and how we can use that to get back into balance, how we can use the proper movement to get into balance and stay in balance, what we do with alcohol, what we do with coffee, all of those things, so we get to a point where our cortisol is not constantly raising off the charts, and that will make a huge, huge difference. And I just want to say out there, if you're using GLP-1s or any of the weight medication under a doctor's care, that's fine. So be it. That's your choice. My thing is, what do you do next? Yeah. What is your next step? Because we now know that you have to stay on those drugs forever or the weight does come back. So I encourage everyone out there, if you're using them, think about what's next and how you're going to get to that place where you don't need them. And you're still going to be able to maintain your ideal healthy weight.
Yeah. So let's dive into each of those pieces. But coming back to the cortisol, you mentioned a lot of different things that can influence it and make it a lot higher. We know a lot of the things, I'm sure, most people that are going to help lower it, right? Managing our stress, sleeping, as you mentioned, eating a proper diet. Let's talk about the exercise portion, because we have been led to believe cardio. The more, the better, the harder, the better. And so how has that changed now in midlife? What is the guideline now?
Well, if you are working to release weight and you're working to balance out some of that cortisol, some of that stress hormone, you want to take it easy, at least for 30 days. And maybe forever. I mean, depending on your body, your joints, your whatever. There's nothing wrong with cardio. But again, if you're in that phase where you're attempting to release weight, you want to cut back. So what am I actually talking about? Get off the treadmill, no jogging, no running, no high intensity, no CrossFit. For that time period, walking. I walk with a weighted vest. Walking, yoga, a bar class, a Pilates class, maybe some dancing. I started using a few minutes a day of Tai Chi. These are the things that will allow you to tone, to release weight, to get your movement, but not spike your cortisol. Now, once you get to your ideal healthy weight, which by the way is different for everybody, then you can ease back into these other more intense. But again, remember, as we get older, joint issues, if it's hurting, then maybe you need to switch to something else. The key is movement. That is the key, to keep moving your body. I say, if you haven't exercised in a long time, just start with 10 minutes, 3 days a week. Just take a walk. If you have to walk around your house, if you have to dance for 10 minutes, start small, be successful, and then add on to it. But you're absolutely right. I've had clients in the past who were gym rats or did, Peloton every day or jogging, and they simply could not move the scale, even though they were following to the letter a nutrition program. Once they cut out the intensity of the exercise, the weight fell off.
Wow, that is fascinating because it's so counter to what we would. Yes, yeah. Counterintuitive. What about, because I hear a lot about this stage, us needing to lift weights and to lift heavy is the recommendation. So what are your thoughts on that?
Resistance is always great. During that balancing time period, I would say do modified lifting. Don't continue to add weight. Band is great. Doing work with bands. Yes, resistance exercise is great. But you want to keep everything at a moderate level while you're working to get that weight off and you're working to balance out some of those hormones. Definitely.
Okay. And that inflammation that you talked about, you said, I look back at pictures of my face and I was so inflamed. Is that related to these things, to the insulin, to the cortisol, all of that?
It's also related a lot to what we're eating. So certain foods are going to be inflammatory. And a lot of times we don't know what might affect us until we clean out and then add back. So it could be nightshade vegetables like green peppers, like eggplant, like tomatoes. For some people that causes inflammation. In other people, it's white potato. My husband can't eat white potato. He immediately starts to feel joint pain and inflammation. But you wouldn't know that if you're always feeling joint pain and a headache or stuffed nose. Dairy. I'm very sensitive to dairy. I pretty much don't eat it. And when I do, I'll wake up completely congested. I'll have issues with my stomach. So you learn all this by taking that stuff out for a certain amount of time. And we can do anything for 30 days. We really can. And then adding things back systematically. So you can say, okay, apparently, white potato isn't great for me. So I'm going to just know that. Does it mean you never eat a French fry? No. It means you're now knowledgeable about how that French fry is going to react in your body. That's key.
Absolutely. I've done many elimination diets in my lifetime, and they are very illuminating. It's crazy how we don't realize how we're being impacted by the things we're putting in our body, because a lot of times there are things that are considered to be quote unquote healthy. Right. So it's not a candy bar or the potato chip or the things that we know we shouldn't be putting in our bodies, but something like eggplant that can impact you and you don't even realize it. You think you're doing something good for yourself. It's an eggplant. It's
absolutely. And in certain ways you are, but if your body is sensitive to it, then, I stopped eating tomato, except, if it comes in a salad that I order, because I know that I do have an issue with the nightshades if I eat a lot of them. Broccoli is another one. Broccoli is an issue for people, and yet it is healthy, but maybe the giant bowls of broccoli you were eating because you figured, well, no calories, very healthy. But then all of a sudden you're bloated and gassy, but not making the connection to the broccoli. The other thing I am going to give you ladies another tip. This is a tip for everybody, but you must drink plain water.
Mm-hmm.
So, not the coffee, not the tea, but half your body weight in ounces every day, up to about 100 ounces of plain water. It will make a huge difference. And most people don't do it. We're getting better at it as a society, but we still need to remember. And this is a challenge. It's a challenging one. And I've told people, set an alarm on your phone, set something on your computer to remind you, drink maybe a good amount in the morning. So you start off feeling hydrated, and then also try and stop by 4 or 5 o'clock, because sleep again is the issue.
Yes.
And honestly, if you're getting up to pee every 2 hours, that doesn't help. So
no. It does not. It does not. I actually am currently seeing a dietitian to see if I can get my weight, the weight that I've gained to come off. And she highly encourages the water, and I'm up to 80 ounces of water a day. And that is, I use a large container and I put a rubber band around it. And then each time I finish a container, I take a rubber band off, and it's just my way of like keeping track of how many of these containers that I've had during the day. So, it's doable. It definitely, for me personally, I felt like more lubricated in my joints by increasing my water intake. For any of you ladies who struggle in the bathroom department, I feel like it's helpful with that as well. So yeah, water is essential. Yeah.
And I do it, I have a plastic 16 ounce, and I just keep refilling it.
Yeah.
And I know if I've done 4 of them, and whatever mind games, for yourself, some people prefer to just have 8 or 10 ounces every hour. I mean, whatever works for you, works for you. I have water everywhere, in the car, in my office, in every room. Just try, get into the habit of getting the water in. That will make a huge difference. Doing the gentler movement will make a huge difference. And the other thing that women, it's sort of like ingrained in us, less is more when it comes to food. And so you may not be eating enough. And you certainly may not be eating enough of the right things. And one of the main ones is protein. So that's another area, and probably your dietitian is working with that too. Ladies, try and have protein in the morning, egg whites, eggs, or something. But eating less, I've had women say, I don't understand it. Yesterday I had a salad with some lettuce, and I had an apple, and then I had like a little tiny piece of chicken with some vegetables. You must eat enough.
Yeah.
Metabolism slows down when you aren't eating enough. So you need to make sure you're eating enough of the good stuff.
Right. And it's funny you mentioned that, because I'm doing this with 2 other women, and they were both told they were not eating enough. And I said, I promise you that is not my problem. And sure enough, it is not my problem. I have always been a very healthy eater, but I feel like she hasn't said I'm eating too much, but she said, well, make sure you take 20 minutes to eat, stop when you're 70% full, things like that. But I do know that, yes, not eating enough is very, very common, which for me personally is mind blowing, because I'm very different than that. But I guess that, that comes from this diet culture, this idea of like, I'm going to constantly restrict. But then we get to this age, and the restricting is no longer working.
In my late 20s, I had my son in my late 20s. I gained 75 pounds because that was my excuse. Now I can just eat. And I took it off in about 7 months with the lean cuisine and diet Coke solution. God. totally ridiculous.
Yeah.
But at that stage of my life, it worked,
Yeah.
you know?
Absolutely.
And so we get in, you're absolutely right. We get into that mindset of if I just eat less, I had a girlfriend. We were in high school and this was her thing. I will eat, she was studying to be a nurse. And then when she went into nursing, I will eat one candy bar per day. And that will help me take my weight off.
Meaning that was the only thing she was going to eat for the day?
Yep.
Oh, wow.
So we do these things. No one is at fault. No one is to blame. We do these things when we're younger. In my book, I list 45 different programs that I tried. And, we do stuff. But as we do get older and our body changes, this, and this whole insulin resistance of how our body is using sugar and how we are metabolizing, it's different. And that kind of stuff isn't going to work. First of all, it's completely, you're not getting nutrients from a Hershey bar.
Right. Yes.
So that's it's water, it's sleep, it's cutting out certain things for 30 days, and letting your body kind of just come to some calm balance, and then adding things back in.
The insulin resistance that you mentioned, that sounds like it's just something that biologically happens to all people, or is that something we have some power and control over?
We do, because we tend to eat way more simple carbs and sugar than we should. And so once we start removing that will implement. And as some of it is a factor of the menopause time period. But also, most of us have not eaten in the best way all the years prior to, or we're on a diet, off a diet, on a diet, off a diet. So we're binging, we're not binging, so it's really, you're going to cut out sugar for 30 days. I don't use sugar. I use flavored liquid stevia in my coffee. I don't use dairy. Do I have sugar? Yes, there's sugar in a lot of things. When you read a label, look at the added sugar. Because I have a friend who, she was following my program initially, and you could have tomato sauce at the beginning, a certain amount, no sugar. And she didn't realize that it said no added sugar. So she sent her husband out to get tomato sauce, and he went to 3 different supermarkets.
Oh, geez.
And came back and told her, I can't find anything without sugar. And she called me. She said, Steve's been running around all day. I said, it's no added sugar. Tomatoes have sugar. You're not going to.
Right.
So when you read labels, that's really, really important. And look at the added sugar. Look at the fiber. If you can't pronounce a bunch of ingredients, you may want to think twice about eating it. But these are all things that, you experiment. I get questioned all the time about buying organic. I don't know if you and your dietitian have discussed that. Do I have to buy organic? Do I have to eat organic? And, that's a matter of budget and availability, and personal choice. The one tip I'd say is certain things you do want to try and buy organic. Your berries and your apples. So a great rule of thumb is if you're eating the outside, try and buy organic. If you're not, don't worry about it. An orange, an avocado, a banana. If you want to buy organic, go ahead. But if it's a choice of this one or that one, then pick the one where you're eating like a strawberry or a blueberry or an apple, where you're eating the entire thing, like your vegetables.
Yeah.
Again, budget, availability, and personal choice. Don't stress. And this is the key. We're putting so much extra stress on ourselves that is being counterproductive. And there's a lot of changes that go on in midlife. It's not just the weight. There's a lot of stuff that women are experiencing, from brain fog to headaches to no interest in sex or painful sex, just hot flashes. It runs the gamut, joints, aching joints. So memory loss, just the added stress of thinking, I'm losing my mind. What am I doing wrong? What is happening?
Yeah.
Try and find a way to really spend 5 or 10 minutes a day, whether it's in self-hypnosis. I'm not going to say you have to meditate. If you want to, fine. But if there's something you can listen to, whether it's music or a podcast or a certain guided meditation that just makes you feel a little bit more grounded and a little calmer, do that once a day.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I personally have experienced it, and I think it's a common symptom of feeling like my nervous system is, yes, on fire. Yeah, very sensitive, kind of on fire. I can't really tolerate the same things that I did before, or if I do, then I really pay for it. And so anything that brings that down, like you said, whether it's a great piece of music or a guided meditation or self-hypnosis, nature is very regulating. Those things they really impact everything in my life, but they really impact my food choices, because when I feel very agitated and dysregulated, that's when I am more likely to say, give me the bowl of ice cream, give me the fries,
absolutely. Absolutely.
Other than not, let's have a salad. I don't want a salad when I feel very dysregulated.
Right.
So that is absolutely huge. I got an email, I think it's from your assistant, and she put a few things in here that we could discuss. And one of them I definitely want to ask you about, because I was like, really? Is this a typo? It says why you should weigh yourself every single day.
Okay, let me clarify. That is within the first 30 days.
Okay.
So if you want to do it after, that's fine if you're still reducing. But within the first 30 days, there's 2 reasons. It is going to be an education for you. Also, you're going to see the number go down pretty much every day. And that is going to be a good boost for motivation. Okay. Once you get to your ideal healthy weight, that's up to you. Once a week, twice a week. I mean, whatever you are going to need to feel that you're staying in balance. But when you're really focused at the beginning on the weight releasing, and by the way, ladies, you hear me say release or reduce, don't use the word lose. Our subconscious is pretty much at about a 4 or 5-year-old. And if you've ever seen a 4 or 5-year-old lose something, you know what happens. They have to find it. They'll have a tantrum and they have to find it. The other thing is the word no. Watch what you're saying to yourself.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with saying, no, I can't do that. Or no, that's, if you tell a 2-year-old or a teenager that they can't do something, we all know what happens next. That's the first thing they do. So, yes, for the first 30 days, you are going to weigh yourself. You're going to use a digital scale because you're going to see the changes right away.
Okay. All right. Well, that's amazing. I mean, that's a big plug for your program, because if I could get on a scale and see a change every single day, it's very motivating. Very motivating to keep going.
Yes, it is. Yeah. Yes, it is. And we learn to trust the scale to be a friend, not a foe. It's not about the number. It's about our body and what's happening with our body. It doesn't matter. You're going to determine, you're going to know. People say, well, how will I know when I'm in balance? Well, first of all, the weight's coming off. Your joints don't ache. You're sleeping better. You have more energy. You don't need coffee in the afternoon, any of that stuff. So you're going to know, and the scale becomes a friend, a guideline, not something we have to, oh my God, So it does, it creates that habit And so then once you get to your ideal healthy weight, whatever that is, then you'll know how often you need to check in and see what's going on.
Mm-hmm. And should women reframe their expectations about what a healthy weight at this age looks like versus a healthy weight maybe when they were in their 20s or even 30s?
Yeah, I've, it's funny. I've had women do the program and be able to wear clothes they wore in high school. I am telling you, that is, first of all, the exception. First of all, most women don't want to wear. So yes, your body changes and you're going to come to the weight that's comfortable for you. And what I experience and what many women experience is you may get to a certain weight and then you find that you go up 5 to 10 pounds because those extra 5 to 10 pounds allow you to stay there.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas
Yeah.
the 5 to 10 pounds below, you almost have to be too critical.
Restrictive. Yeah.
You want to live that 80-20. So
Mm-hmm.
if 5 or 10 pounds more allows you to be in an 80-20 lifestyle and not be obsessed with food and live your life and enjoy,
right,
then that's your comfort. And for some women, it will be more. It's wherever you look in the mirror and you feel sexy, you can give yourself a wink, give yourself a smile, and you just feel good.
Yeah.
You feel good. It's not about what anybody else is judging you on. That is so important.
It really, really is, because we have certain beauty standards that have been enforced by our culture. And at our age, for most people, meeting that standard would require an extremely restrictive lifestyle. So I think a big part of the work is internal. It's reframing what beauty looks like now for you at this age. And finding, like you said, where you feel really good. You feel good in your body. You feel good in your clothes. You feel good when you look in the mirror. And I have had some friends who they were on this journey and they would take before and after weight loss pictures every couple of weeks or whatever. And they'd send me pictures, and the transformation in their body was remarkable. And only to come to find out that they'd really only lost a couple of pounds.
Right.
But they had started lifting weights and like turning their body, transforming their body, and it didn't necessarily correlate with huge weight loss. And they look amazing.
That is so true. You're that you've just hit the nail on the head. It's feeling good. It's feeling healthy. It's transforming out of the inflammation and out of the bloat. And you'll start to see that right away. And yes, it is the resistance. It is doing movement. It is sleeping. I can't tell you how important it is and how it ties into weight. We tend to come from a culture where, I only need 4 hours of sleep a night. Yeah, well, no, ladies, you need to sleep. And so that's another very important thing. And you're right. It's not your sister. It's not your best friend. It's not your daughter. It's not your neighbor or your coworker. It's you. Yeah. How you feel and how you feel when you walk into a room or walk around and you just feel comfortable. It's not a number. The number is a guideline. The number tells you if all of a sudden something wacko is going on. And people ask me all the time, well, how do you deal with the 20%, Deb? Because if you go away for a week and you eat whatever you want on vacation, and then you come back and you weigh yourself and you're like, oh my God, forget it. No, it depends. I've had women who can do that, get back on the scale the minute they get back and say, oh, wow, that's up 4 pounds. Okay, I'm on it. 3 pounds, 3 days later, it's gone. For me, psychologically, I know myself well enough to know I have to wait 2 or 3 days after I've already got back on schedule. Because psychologically, I will be I will be thrown into a self-saboteur. Listen,
Yeah.
ladies, you got to know yourself,
Yeah.
okay? And what happens when you do something like this, and Katie's doing some stuff too, is you really get to understand who you are and
Hmm.
what works best for you. And not me or anyone else is going to be able to dictate that for you.
Yeah.
I can guide you on a journey, but you are the one who's going to decide what's best for you.
Yeah. Is part of this part of the program that you offer, or part of your own personal journey, was it beyond the things that we're talking about here, just the, what we're eating and how much we're sleeping and exercising, but also an internal journey? Because food, I feel like, is so tied to emotion.
Mhm.
And if we don't know what's driving us, then we tend to repeat the same patterns over and over. And so what was your own personal experience with that?
You are 100% correct. And 90% of the book is about mindset.
Mm,
It's about our relationship with food. Um, Food was a way for me to just feel comfort from
mm,
a very young age. For other people, it's because, if you don't take thirds, a grandma will be insulted, or, there's children starving somewhere. By the way, that sentence has absolutely no logic behind it,
mm,
but we react to it. Or finish your dinner, or you can't have dessert, or
mm,
whatever it is. You're absolutely right. And that's why I spend most of the time dealing with what's going on internally.
mm,
In fact, I ask questions at the end of every chapter that has you think about how did that relate to me and my journey? Because food is so tied into emotions. And food is not something we can go cold turkey with.
mm,
It's not smoking, it's not alcohol, it's food.
yeah.
It's tied in from the very beginning of life. And so we need to understand our relationship with food. Why do we crave X?
Hmm.
What is the emotion behind it? Is it that those are the cookies that my grandma used to make? And at certain times, I just want one. Fine,
Hmm. Yeah.
then have one. That's the key. Why? Don't feel guilty about it.
Yeah.
Those memories are really important. Those connections are really, really important. I had one man once who said that every time he drove by a certain street, there was an ice cream place, and he would go in every day. And he said, I need to stop eating so much ice cream. And I said, well, what is the deal? And he said, well, I always used to stop with my dad and get
Mm,
an ice cream cone. I said, well, can you stop once a week?
yeah.
And he said, yeah, I think I can do that. That's a great idea. So it's not, forget it, forget the ice cream cone, forget the
Yeah.
memories. It's okay, can we change that behavior so that it's going to fit better with what your goal is,
Hmm.
and you still get the pleasure and the memory of that ice cream cone?
Yeah. Not making it an all or nothing proposition, making it somewhere in between. And then I would bet that that man enjoyed that ice cream cone once a week a lot more than he did when he was eating it every
Yeah,
day.
that's
Yeah.
right. And he was more in control.
Yeah. Which is
It removes the guilt,
everything.
it removes the self-recrimination, and
Yeah.
we ladies are famous for that. I mean,
Yeah.
we beat ourselves up about everything, and
Yeah.
food is a real biggie. Food, weight, the way we look. Uh, you're right. I mean, the
Mm.
magazines, it's funny because I I read an article by Halle Berry yesterday that someone sent me, and someone put a comment. She's going to be 60. She was talking about midlife. And someone put a comment right underneath that was really nasty,
Mm.
about her probably having tons of surgery and who the hell looks like her and this, that, and the other thing. And I thought, you know, it's true. We are conditioned to look at these celebrities, if you will, magazines, and my God, social media, you can't get away from it.
Yeah.
It's not a comparison contest.
Yeah.
It's a personal uh, coming to terms with what feels good for you. And that is my biggest message to women, to midlife women. You know, women are incredibly adaptable. I mean, think about it. We go through puberty, we go through getting our period, we go through PMS. Many of us go through pregnancy or having kids. And then we get into this perimenopause or postmenopause, and we adapt to all of this with all the noise around us.
Yeah.
And we're taking care of everybody. And we sometimes forget that we really need to focus in on what is going to be good for us, because that is the only way we're going to be able to give everything else that we give to everybody else. So we, doesn't it sometimes feel like the symptoms we have later on are like, you know, PMS on steroids?
Yeah.
You know, it's, and there's no instruction book.
Yes. No, there is not.
What is menopause? I mean, who?
Yeah.
You know, I remember, you know, when I was a kid, my mother brought home a pink book and a blue book. The pink book she gave to me. It was about getting your period, you know, becoming a woman. And I was all excited every day. I was like, oh, is today going to be the day I'm a woman? I didn't get a booklet. I mean, there are books out there, but by the time you start having symptoms, you're like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah.
The mood swings for me were just off the freaking charts.
And the rage. Yes.
I used to, you know, I'd be like, I'd see stuff on social media. I'd see stuff online. A friend would tell me something. And every week I'd go to my husband and I'd say, oh my gosh, I just found this cream or this pill or this lotion, whatever it was. Do you think I should try it? And my husband would always say, try everything.
Yeah.
That was a nutcase. So ladies, we are hoping that medicine and medical science will catch up and really start paying attention to perimenopause and postmenopause. There are things you can do. The main thing to remember is you are not doing something wrong and are not crazy. And there are ways to get to a weight you're going to be comfortable with. And by the way, when you do that and you start balancing, you notice the hot flashes minimize or go away. The night sweats minimize or go away. The headaches go away. The brain fog goes away. The aches go away. So all of it starts to trickle into everything else because your body is actually getting healthier. That's the key.
Yeah. And I think that what you're talking about is bringing your mind and your body into balance. And at this age, we need to be in balance. We could manage being out of balance earlier in our lives and still juggle all the plates, keep everything running, and still feel okay doing it. No more, ladies. No more at this stage of life can we live so out of balance and our bodies not react to that. And I also want to put out there, because that comment you mentioned about, you know, that somebody put under Halle Berry's article, it just made me think about how we still, in this day and age, just mind-boggling to me, measure our value against how we look.
Yes. That's it.
Like, wow. Like, we're still doing this to other women, right? We're doing it to ourselves and we're doing it to other women. And our value is not attached to our jean size, to how smooth our skin is, to what our hair looks like, right? We are inherently valuable. If you want to feel better, of course, I want you to feel better, right? You want to have all the energy and be pain-free and so that you could do the things that you love to do in life. But our value is unattached to how we look. And that is a huge shift that I think we as a culture need to really wrap our brains around and really embody, not just know it, but embody it.
You could not, I mean, you are so on the ball. And the thing is, in midlife, women are feeling invisible. And this is something, you're absolutely right. Our value is inherent. Now, Katie made a very good point. That doesn't mean that being 100 or 150 pounds overweight is okay, in my opinion, because it's a health issue.
Yeah.
It's not, well, you should do it because you'll look better. It's because of health issues.
Yeah.
And when I see kids, young kids, that are clearly grossly overweight, it concerns me because it's like the pendulum is swinging from one side to the other.
Yeah.
How about just healthy? How about just
yeah.
How about just healthy? I mean, not one way or the other.
Yeah.
So and that's what I say to women. You have to feel good, because how you feel is going to make such a difference in how you think, and how you think is going to make a huge difference in how you feel.
Yes.
So we're connecting it all. We're connecting it. It's all energy. And so, yeah, you're absolutely right. We have a culture of comparison. We have and now who knows what's real and what isn't, but we have a culture of comparison, whether it's to our neighbor, to the person who wrote the celebrity who wrote the article. It doesn't matter. None of that matters. It's how you feel. Because if you get inside and feel good, the rest of it will take care of itself.
Yeah.
You won't eat that stuff. It won't appeal to you. That's the thing. The stuff that you really like, that you want to have, you want to go on vacation, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about those days, like Katie mentioned, when you're tired, you're frustrated, you've had a tough day, and all you want is a bowl of ice cream or a bag of chips, or both, for that matter. When you've gotten into that internal game, that inherent value, that I can sit back for a minute because I'm worth spending 5 minutes to just get into myself, that's not what you're going to want to eat.
Yeah.
So
it's true. It's true. And when you think about honoring yourself, what can I do to honor myself? And maybe that is taking 5 minutes. Maybe it's getting a bath. Maybe it's taking a walk. Maybe it is eating that muffin today. And today you're like, I want the muffin. And and I'm consciously choosing it, right? I am making a conscious decision that this is something that is going to bring me pleasure today, and that is worth it to me, instead of almost like self-sabotage or punishment.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's like, I really feel like having a bagel today. Well, have it.
Yeah.
Because now you're in that place where you go, okay, I'm going to have a bagel. So probably I shouldn't have another one for another couple weeks, but you're now in tune with who you are and what you're doing. And you're absolutely right. Enjoy the muffin.
Yeah.
Enjoy the bagel. Not feeling this, oh no, what did I do? And then the whole we talk about the self-saboteur. We talk about, as I said, going down the rabbit hole, and many other areas that all have to do with what's going on internally, so that it has an impact on what's happening externally.
Yeah. Absolutely. It all begins within. I always say that it all begins within. Everything everything on the outside started on the inside.
I like that.
Yes.
I like that. Yeah.
All right. Well, we are at the top of the hour. So is there anything we didn't get to cover that you wanted to make sure that we talked about?
I just want the women to understand. I mean, my book, Dieting Sucks for Women Over 40, wherever you buy
that name, by the way.
Yeah, wherever you buy books online, and my website, 30tolife.org. There's a lot of information there. There are guided meditations. There's information on self-hypnosis. Whatever helps you. Whatever helps you in understanding that every single one of you is unique. That is the key.
Yeah. All right. Beautiful. Thank you so much again. And I will put all of your links to everything in the show notes so everyone will have access to it. All right. Thank you. Namaste, my friends, and welcome back to the podcast. I think this episode today is going to be interesting for many of you. I have a nutrition health coach on, Debbie Harris, and she is going to be talking to us about weight loss in middle age. I know for many, including myself, the weight just seemed to appear out of nowhere, and everything that had worked for me in the past is no longer working, and it is so frustrating. And so she's going to talk to us about why that is, what actually is physiologically changing in our bodies and making it so difficult at this stage of life to lose weight. And she's going to talk to us about the shifts we need to make to allow that weight to fall off of us at this age. And she has a new book out, which I love the name. It's called Dieting Sucks for Women Over 40. Yes, it does, Debbie. 30 to Life, the Ultimate Weight Loss and Hormone Balancing Solution. And she focuses a lot on this hormone balancing. She will go into it more deeply in the show, but there are 3 hormones that we have that undergo significant shifts in this stage of life. And it's why losing weight in this stage of life can be difficult and requires different strategies than we have been using in the past. So we talk about all that. We talk about all the concrete steps that we can take, but we also talk about the emotional tie we all have to food and how it's very important for us to do the inside work if we're going to be able to implement the strategies that she mentions and really make them long-lasting shifts in the way that we live. She wants everyone out of the diet culture. She doesn't believe in dieting. She wants people to shift into a whole new lifestyle, a new relationship with food, a new way of eating, a new way of exercising. And when we do, she promises that we will not only lose weight, but we will feel more energized. We will have less pain. We will have less perimenopause and menopause symptoms, decrease in bloating, and just feeling good in our bodies, which is really what she wants for women, is for us to feel good in our bodies. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. Before we dive in, I want to remind you to use the link in my show notes or head over to my website at katiefarinas.com and sign up for my newsletter through Substack. Substack is a social media platform, if you're not aware of it. It's a beautiful social media platform, lovely people over there, warm, loving, intelligent, deep space to be a part of. However, you don't have to be a part of it. If you sign up for my newsletter, it will still just get delivered directly to your inbox, and you don't have to sign up for Substack at all. But if you choose to sign up for my newsletter and sign up for Substack, you'll enter my community over there where I share inspiration a couple of times a day over there. I also host events like free meditations and workshops. And I'm really working to grow a community over there. It's a place where we can all come together. And as I mentioned, it's just a really wonderful, energetically positive place. So that's why I'm trying to grow my community over there. I would love to see you in the community, but if you don't want to have one more social media platform, I totally get that too. Just sign up for the newsletter and it will go directly to your inbox. All right, my friends, I will see you on the other side.